I'm Red Beard the Hippy here with one of the members from Necrogenesis, doing a quick interview to help promote his music and him in the local scene. He says he's getting ready to... You guys are working on your EP?
We're about to finish it up.
Oh, just about to finish it up.
Yeah, we just have the rhythm guitars left to do, and then I can go record vocals and get it mixed and mastered.
So you're the vocal guy?
Yeah.
Is that the only instrument you do, or...?
I can play the guitar, but I can't play tech death with it.
So, style of vocals, I'm going to probably go ahead and say growler.
Yeah.
Probably a few screams in there.
Some screeching.
Screeching?
Yeah.
Pig slaughtering sounds?
No pig squeals.
No pig squeals?
I don't want to sound like a strip of bacon.
So tech death.
Right.
I don't know a whole lot of tech death, but I'm pretty sure if you name some references, I'd probably know. Be like, oh yeah, I know that one. Or
Necrophagist. It's like, or it was the gold standard at one point. Inferi, Demon Fetal Harvest.
We'll scoot over just a little bit so we can make sure that the mic picks everything up. Downfall of doing interviews at live concerts and sound checks.
Some bands just off the top of my head.
I'm gonna probably put money. Some of those bands were influences of yours. Seeing how you said one of them was the golden standard.
Actually, well, Necrophagist was, but that wasn't like a huge influence for me. Actually, for this EP, I took a lot of influences from old school death metal. And so, it doesn't sound like a typical tech death release.
Well, and the weird thing about like genres and subgenres of certain things is like, what is that supposed to sound like? Like your version of tech death versus somebody else's version of tech death, or there's probably similarities, but also at the same point in time, there's differences.
Yeah, I just know that I've focused on a lot of Swedish death influences.
Oh, okay.
And so stuff like Carnage, Dismember, Entombed, and all that rot.
There's certain bands where you're just like, okay, I know where you're going now with this. So.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Carnage, which actually like predates. It doesn't predate Entombed, but Entombed released their full length just before Carnage did theirs. So I like Carnage and Necrophagia. Those are two of my biggest influences.
And and I know there's a bunch of like gore metal, and like I know the scene down here has that style of music.
There's a lot of grindcore and gore grind here, yeah.
That's what it is, gore grind.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I pay attention to a lot of the subgenres. So, I mean, there's obviously bands in the area that you're going to be able to fit in with and be able to do shows with.
Honestly, I don't really feel like I kind of fit in here in the scene. I'm just the oddball one out. I can't find anyone here to play tech death. And then also all of my bandmates are scattered across the states. So it's like we send the files back and forth over the internet.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's definitely some, I just did an interview with, I'm gonna feel bad because I can't remember their name. But yeah, I know there's some bands in the area that you would definitely be able to fit in with, especially some of the heavier bands too.
Yeah.
Which that's the cool thing about like the music scene. Like once you find that group, you're like, okay,
right.
These are my people. It's just a matter of finding those people, which sometimes is a pain in the ass to find.
Yeah.
Because like I know when I was years ago, the scene down here was a whole lot different. Like you had to be in a certain band and you had to know certain people to get in with certain people to be able to play.
To know someone else.
Yeah, and the scene down here in Wichita is no longer like that. From what I've noticed, it's Oh, you play in a band? Okay, what style? Okay, get with these guys or hit these guys up, or which is a cool thing now because there's a whole lot more unity than there used to be. Like it was.
Yeah. And also in the 80s and 90s, it was a different beast because I mean you were seeing bands like Entombed come. I think Entombed played here once in the 80s or 90s. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Slipknot says they played for 9 people in Kansas City one time.
For 9 people.
Yeah, because it was like nobody knew who they were and they were on tour. So I mean that's why supporting like the local bands and everything, because you never know which band you're gonna see.
Yeah. You never know which one's gonna like take off.
Oh yeah, and that's the fun thing of seeing all these, and that's like for me one of the reasons why I don't say no to interviews is because like okay, maybe I can give somebody a help to get a show or something, and you don't want to be that guy who's like, hey, you remember that band that you turned down? Yeah, they're on this bill. Ah, fuck. Now I won't be able to go talk to them because you're gonna be, unless it's like, hey man, I can't do it. I got, kids in the hospital. Like I'm sorry, I can't.
Dire circumstances.
Yeah, like other than just being like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do it. I don't like your music because what I like in music and what other people, it may not be the same. But if you can find people and get them to cross over into other realms, is always a nice thing. Huh? It's actually a lot louder in here than I thought it would be.
It is. Definitely.
And it's also the downfall of small venues too.
I'm cool with it.
But this is, like, I was here at the Hideout last night where we're shooting the video at tonight, and it's just a cool little hole-in-the-wall venue, so, and it's also family-friendly. So, where are some of the other members from?
Jack and Anthony, the bassist and our drummer and composer, live in Fitchburg. Will lives in California, and that's pretty much it.
Where the hell is Fitchburg?
It's in Massachusetts. It's close to Boston.
Oh, okay. I was like, because I don't recognize that name around Kansas at all.
No, it's definitely not anywhere close to here.
But, like, obviously with Tech Death, it's one of those ones where it's, certain people really like it.
Yeah.
I was talking with you earlier, mentioned a couple bands, and your eyes suddenly perked up. Like, you know these bands and you've seen them?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen them. I hadn't heard.
You've seen Flub?
Yeah, and I have the tie-dye T-shirt with them too, so I still rock that. Cause
I saw Alter Beast with In Theory in 2017, and Alter Beast was the shit.
Oh, nice.
But they had the old Flub vocalist that replaced the old Alter Beast vocalist, and I was just like, this doesn't seem as tech death-esque. It was more like slam death metal.
Oh, okay.
But the whole show was good. I loved it.
Well, that's the cool thing about some of those bands is like you've seen them, like certain members with certain bands, and it's always kind of interesting when you run through and figure out when you saw them. And like I know some of the bands, every person's the same from when they started to when they end, and there's other times where it's like they have replaced members, so it's like, okay, when did you see them? When did? It's like I saw Killswitch Engage right before they replaced Howard, and then I haven't been able to see him since. But
and it's been a long time since I've heard anyone say that name.
Well, I mean, obviously you can see the hat. I just went and saw Pantera and Lamb of God, but
That's cool.
like, that was the one show that I went as myself and not having to do any other stuff. Like I took my kid to it, so it was one of those
Nice, that's fun.
passing the torch down to him where he's a metalhead, so I like giving him bands that he can listen to. So doing like the interviews and things, you always find new bands, and it's like, okay, I gotta go check this band out, or I'm gonna write it down, or I'm gonna listen back through the interview, and Let's see, what other kind of questions? So are you guys planning? How are you guys planning on doing live shows or just putting out music?
Yeah, once we release the EP, we're gonna try to put some shows together.
Oh, okay.
Or I might be like moving to Massachusetts.
Well, I mean, they got a good scene up there too.
Either of the coasts would be preferable to where I'm at.
I've got certain groups that I also follow on Facebook, like the New England, New England area metal stuff, and like I somehow got into that group, and like I'm not even from the New England area, so it's kind of a cool thing of being able to. But then you see like the bands that they've got coming through, and it's always really cool.
Yeah, they've always got good bands on the coasts. When I lived in California, there was Bloodbath and Necrot and just all kinds of really, really good bands. And I'm sure it's the same way on the East Coast.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of along, like each coast and the middle all kind of have different things. Like the coasts are a lot more of the grind and death metal stuff, and like the Midwest, there's some of it, but not near as much.
Right.
Like being able to see, like we were talking with Flub and Cognitive, and seeing Gurod, and it's like I saw a French band in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Is that Gurod? Is that progressive tech death band?
Yeah, I think so.
I've always pronounced it Gorod.
The only reason I pronounce it Gurod now is because I figured when they're like, "We are Gurod," it's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to how they pronounce it, because
that's fair.
I hope they know how to pronounce it. Yeah, so
think of goulash.
Yeah, and they used to have a longer name, but they shortened it. But those guys were super cool too, because I got to talk to them a little bit after got the CD and everything.
Everything they've put out has been really, really well received in the tech death community.
And the coolest part about that band is what their music sounds like on the recording is exactly how the music sounds live.
Yeah.
Like all the instruments, all the notes, they are an impressively tight band.
Personally, I like it whenever a band sounds different live than when they do in the studio. Like I want to see them do something different live, or speed up the song, or slow it down, or what have you. But I don't, that's not the same thing as the band sounding like shit. Like you can tell whenever they haven't practiced.
When it's a live performance, like you can tell where it's like, okay, hang on 1 second. Fucking waited from running around. Give us a moment.
Yeah, like that. But yeah, when they do different stuff or change the tempo or whatever, I love that.
Or before that breakdown where you hear the chime and they're like, you hear the banter from it, but like the CD, it's like, and you know it's coming, but it's like, all right, you motherfuckers ready?
Yeah.
And they do that like little interlude thing, like, okay, let's go. And then they go right back into it, where it's like those type of things are always cool to see live too. Where
Bellacore is another band that sounds just like they do on the album live. It's crazy.
Yeah, some of those.
You know who they are.
I don't recognize that one.
You gotta check out Bellacore. It's a melodic death metal band.
Oh, I like melodic death metal.
If you know or like Insomnia,
okay,
you'll love Bellacore. You should get that on there.
Oh, come on, you stupid camera. We got nipples. The advantage of having asshole friends. Welcome to the metal scene here in Wichita. Sin and Scar was the one who just a couple jackasses. But yeah, congratulations, you've now been introduced into the metal scene here. A bunch of great people.
Well done.
That was not planned either.
No.
But I would not expect anything less from those guys.
But yeah, you You'd like Bellacore.
I like a lot of the melodic death metal because it's done a certain way and it's got this really cool groove to it.
It's catchy.
Exactly, where you can't help but do the head bob thing where you're listening to it, you're like, we are 3 bars into this and I'm already getting into it. Like, I will probably go ahead and end the interview because I'm not really sure what else to ask because I'm going to have to, I now at least have some new bands to go check out so I can get more familiar with other styles of music so that I can ask the certain questions. But I really appreciated your time and
of course,
all the conversations trying to get this to happen. So I appreciate you coming out here to where I'm at. So thanks for your time.
Right on.